All right, good day, everyone. Doug here with the LincolnList.com. We're going to take a look at some technical views and possible trade setups for the 14th of January. As always, if you need help with your trading, feel free to visit the LincolnList.com and take a 14-day free trial to our live trade room. First up tonight is, of course, Tesla. You can see from the upper chart here, the 5-minute intraday chart, getting beat up post-market here. A lot of selling off of the comments. Sales are down heavy in China. And where it sits here, where at least made its first pivot, is right off of this last support line from the 16th or 17th of December. So this is a pretty delicate area right here for this stock. If it ultimately loses that number, you're probably going to see a deeper flush that takes you back to some of last year's prices, some of these areas that go back to last May, like a 175, and maybe even further down to a 160. If the market continues to sell off or it gets into a correction phase, this could even be deeper. Company, oil prices dropping, all of that stuff could just, magnify this move here with Tesla. So you kind of want to keep an eye on it. Now, when you see big flushes like this, there's always opportunities for bounce trades, and you got to look at some of your support levels. They're a little bit better to take those moves, like right here post market, where you come down into a really good support zone of 190. You get some bounces there. It slightly went under that, but you got some support. You can see it's starting to bounce here a little bit. That's a pretty good trade. Other than that, you kind of have to wait for these heavy flushes to build. Maybe use a smaller time frame, like a 1-minute chart here, where you get a couple of bottoms tested, and you've got a very near spot to kind of gauge your risk. But this looks good for at least for a bounce. Probably not here at 193, but you can see how this works. Comes down in here, nice little double bottom off of a nice support on the daily, and bounces real quick. Now, of course, you'll learn a lot in the bounce as to whether or not this thing will go higher. But when you see a big flush like this, lots of news on a stock, I'm definitely interested in day trading it. At least for me, this is just a trading vehicle right now, not an investment. Also on that note, BITA as well. It's always amazing what a couple of days can make, or just a single day, sometimes just an afternoon can make to a stock. 2 days ago, this stock is busting up here at $93. It's looking like it's going to go all-time highs to 97. Serious bullish sentiment on it. 2 days later, it's just waxed. And just as you've seen with Tesla, when you see these big moves, there comes a point where a move is deserving and then a move gets overdone. It gets frothy. That's what you see with some of these biotechs right now. The breakouts look really nice on them. They're really nice, tight, and clean. Then it breaks out and it keeps going and keeps going, and chasers get involved, and all of a sudden this euphoria takes over, and you start seeing these really, really sometimes ridiculous moves in stocks. If you've been trading for 10 minutes, you've had to see them like this. And I think maybe you've got something like that here in BITA, where a couple of deep days here, there could be a trade. You're right on the money here at the 65.58 with the support that comes back, back into December. So this is probably going to put up a little bit of a fight. Now, if it were to lose that and come down into the 62s, to me this would be a great trade. This would be a great trading opportunity, is if tomorrow morning this thing just rolls right down in there, breaks this support, flushes quickly down into there, maybe the first half an hour, down into that low 62, high 61. I think I would take a chance long. There's always a spot here where it might bounce early, gap up or run. Whatever you do when you see stocks down like this, or like with the Tesla, you get those gap ups. What you don't want to do is you don't want to chase strength. If you do that, you might pull it off a few times, but over the span of 15 to 20 trades, you're going to get murdered for doing stuff like that. So if it gaps up, or you get a little bounce out of the markets, gap up, a lot of these stocks gap up, be very cautious about the ones you choose to long, because that might be short-lived. Especially a stock like BITA that's beat down for 2 days like this, it's due for a bounce, but you need to be at the right level. You don't need to be chasing into strength. Speaking of beat down, we've got ECOM. This was a decent little trade for us today. This is what I'm talking about. You catch that early morning panic. We got into this stock down here. It was a little bit early, but it was still a good trade. We managed to get in here and get a nice bounce out of this. A lot of times what happens with these, when they're cut this badly, these stocks will flush out a little bit more. If they're really unable to put in a nice bounce throughout the day, usually the second day follows through. For example, TIFF, you're seeing that now, where SanDisk, you're seeing those things continue to flush out. Sometimes when they're going down, this is what, in my opinion, makes bottom ticking stocks harder than top ticking them, is takes a while to flush everyone out and shake everyone out for a stock to kind of gather itself. This is an overdone move in my opinion. You got from 20 to 10 overnight. Really looking for some great spots to long again. 10 was a good area today, held 10 nicely. You know, if it comes back down into the lows here today early on, tests the lower nines and is able to hold that, then I would go back in long. If it's able to stay closely around 10 and build pattern in the morning, I would also be interested in longing it, but also longing with caution. And last, I want to throw up some NBIX here. I was bullish on this stock. I talked about it the last couple of days. Loved it on this 27.50 break. Now you're kind of stretched up here, and I think you're going to see some of these bios start to shift as the week wears on. You know, the JPM conferences here. You got a lot of heat on biotechs right now. It's the thing. As the week progresses, the conference stops. I think you're going to start to see a lot of, and this is just the one I'm showing you here. There's still other plays like Kite, ADXS, Agent, stocks that still have, I think, heavier corrections coming. But NBIX, you got a nice breakout to highs. I think you just need to see a little bit of red here. Most likely, you got to get underneath of this 28.75. It kind of held that all day today, so that's the number I'm going to carry into tomorrow. We start to see 28.75 go, then it might roll over. As always, though, we think sometimes we know where the tops are and the bottoms, but then we find new tops and new bottoms. So don't, you know, if it doesn't go underneath of this 29.70, gets down there and starts bouncing around, holds up well like it did today early on, you've got to be cautious because it still could put in a really strong run, maybe move to 31s, 31s and a half before it's ready to come down. So anyway, there's a few stocks that you can start your day with, put them on the watch list. If you need help, as I said in the beginning of the video, feel free to visit the linkonlist.com, take a 14-day free trial, learn how to plan your day from the very beginning to the very end, and just embrace the lifestyle of a trader. It's a 14-day free trial, linkonlist.com. Thanks for watching this video. Have a good day.